today's stuff will be quite isolated around the knee. Okay, so it's just gonna be something that's a little bit different to what you guys are pretty much used to, especially those who already train with us. Okay, so it would be cool if I could see everyone. So if you're okay and you're not too shy, please let the video run. Yay! Hey, cool. Okay, just checking. Does everyone have a foam roller? Yeah, cool, JZ. I can see you there. Elaine, do you have a foam roller? Oh no, Elaine disappeared. Okay, Elaine, you have a foam roller? Yeah. Where's Samantha? Oh, there we go, Samantha. I see your roller. Okay. Okay. So we're all just gonna put our hands down. Who here has knee pain? Can you just kind of like raise your hand? Okay. Cool. All right. Good. Okay. So today's objective is really just to give you guys an understanding, especially those who train with us. What we normally do is we do a lot of more movement type stuff. Okay, so with more movements type stuff, sometimes the small things get neglected. Okay, so if you think about it, like if we talk about functional training versus bodybuilding, these two things are very different, right? So functional training, a lot of things is more dynamic. When we talk about bodybuilding, it's a lot of isolated work. In the field of rehab, in the field of kind of just looking at the early phase to the late phase of rehab, after an injury, after surgery, we always try to start with some degree of like isolated work, which is like bodybuilding type stuff, right? So if I broke my elbow, the first thing I want to do is to try to flex and extend. If I want, and then from there, then I add in combination motion, okay? Because if I broke my elbow and I'm not actually strengthening my elbow properly, what happens is then I can then be using the rest of my shoulder and my wrist to compensate. So the key thing here is just for you guys to understand, when we talk about functional training, like the training that we do in the studio, we often neglect, okay, the part where, you know, isolate this out. And that, what we normally do is we just get you guys to roll out. You know, we try to get you guys to move your joints through most of the range. Okay, but today's session is really just to give you an idea of what your knee joint can do. Okay, so anyway, I'm just going to introduce myself to some of you, the guys who have never met me. Okay, I'm Shern. I'm the founder of Work-Life Balance. I'm a physiotherapist by training. Okay, so that's why I talk about rehab and injury, okay, quite a lot. So when we talk about the knee joint, okay, I'm just going to show you guys the knee joint with my palms. Okay, this is essentially what the knee joint is. All right, so the knee joint literally does most of like flexion and extension. Okay, very, very little rotation, very, very, very little. Okay, so a lot of the stress that goes through the knee that gives people pain, it's either what we call a shearing force, okay, which is, you can imagine this areas is where your meniscus sits, okay, or where a lot of the joint cartilage sits. Okay, so what people tend to do is they tend to do this shearing thing. All right, so the shearing thing is usually kind of from like this, okay. And the second thing is they rotate too much. So that's normally with like ACL tears. That's normally with like a serious meniscus type injury. So what we want really is to understand the role. Okay, so I'll give you guys a fun fact. A fun fact here would be an ACL, okay, or your anterior cruciate ligament isn't meant to stabilize your joint. Okay, so a lot of people think that this cross in between my knee is so my knee doesn't flex and extend, or doesn't shear too much, or doesn't rotate too much. But actually that's wrong. It does help you with stability of the knee, but what your ligaments are really there to do is to actually provide proprioception. That means the most of the fibers in your ligament actually gives you a sense of where your knee is in space. It actually it's not like a piece of rope that you need to tie up or you need to repair if it tears. Because if the main role of the ACL is to make sure that you have good proprioception, when you tear it, you can never recreate it with surgery. Okay, so that's why a lot of times people who do surgery still have a lot of problems with their knee. Okay, this is a conversation you can have with Mildred one day if you're interested in her experience with her ACL injury. Okay, so that's where like we are misled into believing that ACL is like a structure that protects your knee from rotating, but actually that's not true. The new research that has emerged has said that ACL is actually just a bundle of like very strong fibers that allows you to have very good awareness of where your knee is so that it can react. Okay, and it's also the last line of restraint. That means, of course, if your knee goes like and then it breaks, the ACL is there to just kind of like help you with that bit of that rebound. But your knee joint isn't meant to rotate. Okay, your knee joint is never meant to rotate. You'll never see this joint going through big ranges. So what helps with the knee, or what helps the knee stabilize? Okay, if it's like a hinge joint, the two other areas that helps you rotate, or the two other areas that rotate, of course, the first one is this guy, where you're turning. Okay, so if I turn, you realize that my knee follows. Okay, my knee doesn't go there. Okay, so most of the time when people go turn, they turn their hips, but they don't actually turn their hip enough. What happens is they'll have this knee valgus. Okay, so the idea is to be able to turn. Okay, so if I'm gonna step forwards, I'm sitting in my bum. As I take a step forwards, my knee joint always stays nicely aligned between my hip and my ankle. Okay, so of course my hip turns, but the other thing that I do that probably you can't see very well is that my foot will turn as well. Okay, so the main rotational forces that happen is your foot is pronation and supination. So for some of you guys who is stuck in either supination or you're stuck in pronation, what happens is that pronation and supination is going to come through your knee. So instead of actually putting your foot properly nice and flat and just kind of like pronating and supinating, if you're always stuck in a supination like so, what happens is when your foot actually needs to pronate, your knee does it, because there actually isn't that range of motion there. So that is why we always tell you to keep knee and ankle stacked on top of one another, but also recognizing that if there is a limitation in your foot, whether it is a tightness or whether it's like your brain just likes the outer part of your foot a lot. So some of you guys, you don't actually have a tightness. Okay, some of you guys just maybe because you've sprained your ankle before, your foot is just very happy being here. Okay, so over time you will just walk like that, but because you always just walk this way where you're gonna land and you don't really kind of like pronate, your knee starts to go track it in. Okay, so that over time will create a lot of this. All right, so in the inverse, if you're always pronated, that means your knee is always inwards. So that's when you need to start to learn how to use your arch a little bit so that you can bring your knee back over your ankle and make sure that you keep the foot nice and stable as you do your exercises. Okay, so just make sure that you understand that your knee isn't just dependent on the rotation of your bum or the hip, it's also very dependent on the position of your foot. Okay, because it's sitting between the two of them. All right, so that's extremely important. Okay, so for a lot of you guys are already aware of how to foam roll. All right, so where do we need to foam roll, or what do we do foam rolling for? A lot of it is just to release some of this tension. So if I'm always stuck here, technically I don't have to be stretching all the time. Okay, what I want to do is I want to reset the tension by loosening some of these knots that have built up over time in my muscles. Okay, so let's all do a little drill, okay, so that you guys can try to feel whether you actually do have if you guys do have any tension around your ankle and your knee. Okay, so I'm just gonna lock down this area. Okay, so I'm not gonna do much around my hips, okay, because I want the tension to be quite isolated around your knee and your ankle. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna slowly slide my heel out and straighten my knee. All right. Okay, so Joan, you're okay there? Okay, slide your heel out. Okay, so I'm just basically dragging my heel against the ground and I'm just trying to straighten it. All right, okay, so I want you guys to really make sure you're not slouching there or you're not leaning too far. If you're leaning too far, that will feel like, oh, that's nothing. Okay, I want you guys to really sit tall. So I'm imagining I'm really upright. Okay, on Natsuko, if you want to, you can sit against the wall. Okay, if you have something that you just kind of like block it. Yep. And you're just gonna slide your heel out. Okay. The moment you slide your heel out, you kind of start to feel like, okay, you know, is there any tightness? Any of you guys can feel tightness? Okay, it could even be in your toes. It could even be in your shin. Okay, I see you, Eileen. Okay, Kajin, why are you on your chair? Okay, kidding. Okay, the next one, you're gonna drop the other heel. Okay, push it out again. Okay, anybody feel any strain in your lower back? Or any like, you know, something? Okay, so a little bit there, JC. Okay, if you do feel it, maybe your lower back is also a little bit tight. Okay, so then lean back slightly so you're not really compressing that. Okay, and then try to straighten that. Okay, cannot see your feet. I'm sorry, Joan, I'm doing this. Okay, on the ground. Okay, so for those who feel it more in the back, the restrictions will likely be around your back. Okay, so where you want to target your rolling or where you want to target your releases wouldn't be in your knee, because that gives me an indication that, hey, my knee is actually not super tight, or my ankle is actually not super tight. I feel a lot in my hip. Okay, so this is like a self-check. Okay, so if you go and then you go like, oh, you know, I find a little bit of trouble pressing my knee to the ground. My toes feel a bit floppy. It doesn't really want to do this. So essentially what you want to do is to try to open this out so that this back of your knee really opens and you're almost like digging your heel forwards. Okay? Please feel free to ask any questions, yeah? So unmute yourself and stuff. Okay, I'm gonna do the other side. I'm just gonna push the other heel out. Okay, and I go like, oh, actually I feel it more in the inner part of my hamstrings and not so much in the outer. Okay, so be very, very sensitive here. Be very sensitive to where you feel the tightness. Okay, and even like for some of you guys who are always stuck in your supination position, okay, or always stuck in your pronation position, you might start to feel like, oh, the inner part of my calf is actually tighter than the outer part of my calf. Oh, I feel some strange sensation in my back of the knees. So this is where your rolling would go, or this is where you'll be targeting your rolling. Okay. Okay, so we'll start with the calf first. So very straightforward. If you push your heel out and you feel it here, clearly you have some restriction around your calf and your hamstrings. Okay, so I'm just gonna grab my heel, put the roller under my heel or under my calf, and I'm just going to, in that same position, create some tension on, create some force downwards on my roller. Okay. Okay, so it's quite basic here. I'm just really trying to. Okay, JC, I need you to bring your bum off the ground. Okay, so you're just really trying to lift your bum off. Okay, lift your bum off, but kind of like lean forward so that you really feel that weight in your. Okay, and one tip. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm pressing my heel up and down. Okay, so I'm not just on my calf, but I'm also creating this little length in my heel. Okay, in some of this area, if you might feel like, oh, this is a lot tighter. Okay, so Lena, same thing, try to lift your bum off the ground. Okay, you might come into your kind of like fingers, but just kind of like hold it there. Like if you don't need to have enough height, that's fine. You can roll back and forth this way, like what I'm doing here. Okay, you guys see? So I'm just rolling back and forth. What if you feel the pain only when it's fully extended near the inner top part of the knee? Okay, cool. Okay, I'll get to that. All right. Who asked that? Xiaoqing, I think. Okay, so this is how you would roll out your calf. All right, or I can also kind of like roll my body weight inwards. Like it's almost like I'm doing a forward stretch. That way I can still put weight in the roller. Okay, thanks, brother. Okay, so I want you guys to really try to work on this area. All right. Okay, so any of you guys felt like when you were doing that, you kind of feel restrictions up here? Raise hand. Okay, so I had a question. Yeah. Okay, so when we talk about the knee again, we have the front and the back. Okay, so the front of the knee is your shin area. Okay, so there isn't much going on here, but if you do, so the entire body is connected by fascia. Okay, so even though there isn't much muscle, sometimes there's actually a lot of tightness here. Okay, so you can even like don't roll on it. Okay, you'll be really, really sore because it's just bone. But you can kind of like use some lotion and run your finger down slightly if you want to just kind of like loosen out some of this tension. Okay, so if I were to just even like press around, okay, so the bone is, it's just kind of like the side of the bone. Even if I were to just press around, it can be quite tender. Okay, if I were to run just kind of like at a 45-degree angle down my shin, that could also be quite tender. All right. Okay, so I want you guys to really try to get that calf area sorted. All right, JC, pull your toes up. Get a little, yeah, correct. Get a little bit more through there. Okay, I feel mainly in my quads and sometimes toward the upper thigh. So tightness is here, Constance? Yeah. Okay, try to sit in a little bit more. Okay, so one of the things is I want you guys to also make sure that you always try to do this like 翘屁股 thing, even in your rolling. So you keep trying to hit, yep. Okay, so you keep trying to roll this out. All right, okay, and then change around. Okay, we'll roll that for a bit as well. Okay, it's actually, it should be quite nice. It shouldn't be like, oh, like I'm super pain. Okay, Natsuko, same thing. See if you can lift your bum up off the ground. So I'm almost like doing like a bit of a bridge so that you can get more weight in. Yep. Yep. Okay, so if you find a tight spot, you can just stay there and just prop your ankle up and down. So don't be in a rush. Okay, Lena, see if you can lift yourself a little bit higher. Yep, and then slight arch in your lower back. So don't sink into the thing. Okay, think about sticking your chest up and roll a little bit. Okay, Sam, you okay there? Are you rolling? Are you sure? Why is the roller out here? Isn't it supposed to be under your thigh or your calf? Okay, cool. All right, good. Okay, now we're gonna do that recheck again. Okay, so I want you guys to same thing, go back into that, and then now see if you can lift, you can straighten your knee, and see if that eases that off, or that gives you a bit more range. Okay, Xiaoqing, just see if you can feel that same tightness up there. You still feel it? Less. Yeah, less. Cool. Okay, so think about it as this: your hamstrings and your quads, or your calves and your shin, what they do is they control the tension buildup. All right, so if this is tight, as I'm trying to straighten my knee, I'm going to have a lot of restriction in the back that's limiting me from actually pulling my knee straight. Right, because I need this guy to let go first before I can pull this up. So you can imagine that that's kind of like there. But if I am trying to force my knee to straighten, and at the same time there's all this blockage up here and down here, what's going to happen is my knee is going to try to do this, which is why a lot of people end up with like very locky positions. Okay, so locky positions is really just like this, you know, like instead of actually straightening their quads, they end up locking because there actually isn't enough space. And what people then to do is then to just kind of like stretch, let me open that up. But there's all this tension around the knee that should still be loosened. Okay, so if Kajin, you don't feel much, that's fine. I have a click sound, I think it's from hip on my right side, but I don't have that sound on the left when I straighten. Yeah, so that's usually from tightness around the hip. Okay, but let's keep going. The second one in the back would be your hamstrings. Okay, so this is quite simple. Okay, I want you guys to just try to see if you can lean forwards. Okay, I can use a roller from here. I can even just try to lean. As I sit into my hip, you can see that I'm almost trying to suck my hip back. Okay, I'm rounded for sure because I'm in such a deep position. So if, especially JC, if you have low back pain, make sure you are not trying to do this. Okay, the other alternative is to use a chair. Give me a second. Boom, boom, boom. Thank you. Okay, so the other alternative is to use a chair. Okay, so being in this position stresses my nerve a lot less. So you realize that if I'm here, what happens is I create a lot of nerve tension in my back. Okay, so if I'm sitting up here and I want to roll, I can still do this, and I can still do it without that extra nerve tension. Okay, so we're still rolling and we're still loosening out the hamstring tension, but we're not stressing down now. Okay, so I'm just in a little awkward position here. Okay, it doesn't matter because the key thing is for me to just get the muscles released. Okay, Kajin, probably sit on a chair. Okay, so try to, because you're a little bit tight there. I mean, in terms of like you're very rounded. Okay, so I'm just like sending my bum to the side. Okay, it doesn't really matter as long as I get enough. Masa, are you okay? Yeah, cool. Yeah, okay, so see if you can put more weight into that ball under your thigh. Okay. Okay, so as you work out the muscles here, you can work downwards towards the, so the hamstring spans the entire length through your thigh. Okay, so you can start here and end up there. Same thing with the calf. You may start here and end up there. Okay, so really try that. Yep, cool. Okay, good. Okay, so same thing. We're gonna do a recheck. If you have done one side, now check that. Make sure that's nice and happy. Okay. Good. Is there a difference? So do you feel a little bit better? Yep. Cool. Okay, so we always say roll and stack. Okay, of course this is for people who have restrictions up here. Okay, when we say roll and stack, really the idea is that when you have opened this guys up, okay, like I mentioned earlier, when you open this guy up, what you want to do is to then use these muscles in the front, because there's always an opposing muscle. Like if something is tight, there's always an opposing muscle group. Okay, with the opposing muscle group, what happens is then we can create now quads pull. Okay, we can now, because all this tension have been released, we can then create a bit of a quad pull. All right, so it's very common in like ACL injuries or knee injuries that we do leg raises. Okay, so I want you guys to try. Again, if you have a back issue, just be mindful of sitting up in this rounded position to lift your leg, because that might set you up for really really a lot more stress in your spine. Okay, so you can prop yourself back this way, or you can choose to lie down, okay, with your knee bend, and then we're just gonna do a leg raise. Okay, but with the leg raise, I want you to think about it as you're straightening up, same thing, kicking your heel out, toes pulling up. Okay, so you imagine you're pulling your foot this way up. It's almost like you're going like kick, all right? You will start to feel a lot of work in the quads, especially in the inner quad. Okay, so Masa, you should be quite familiar with this, the leg raises. Okay, so what I want you guys to do is now sit back, okay, maintain a nice neutral spine. So the opposite leg would help you there. Okay, now we're gonna think about straightening the knee by kicking the heel outwards, away from us, and the toes towards us. Okay, so your right heel is pushing some of you are doing left, yep. So my right heel is pushing out, my toes is lift towards me, and I'm just lifting my leg up. Okay, at this point, if your quad isn't shaking, you're doing it wrong. Okay, you should feel like, oh my God, I'm gonna get cramp. Okay, so because this is quite a tight angle, all right, so I'm just lifting my leg up and I'm coming down. All right, I'm lifting my leg up, and I want you guys to be very mindful. Make sure you're not slouching, because that's going to be really easy. You're going to really have to prop yourself up, okay, and try to lift. Okay, all right, so Joan, what I want you to do is I want you to try to lift your little toes up. Okay, so now, yeah, so see if you can flatten your foot straight down. Make sure it is pointing flat. Okay, it shouldn't be at an angle. Okay, as you lift your foot up, it should be flat, not like an angle. Pardon my dirty feet. Okay, so let's try that. Okay, so let's do 10 reps. Okay, we'll sit tall, up and down. 1, 2, okay, keep thinking about sitting tall. 3, 4, 5. Okay, try not to round the pelvis, so make sure it doesn't scoop. Yep, good job there. Good adjustment, JC. Okay, Eileen, I need to straighten the knee a lot more. Okay. Okay, Natsuko, keep watching that your knee is straight. Okay, Chinling, you alright? Okay, Elaine, you're doing a good job. Just push yourself up a bit more so that you're, yep. Okay, but you can bring your hands behind you so that you get nice support. Yep, but this part, don't round. Okay, so we always say 屁股翘. Okay, you should feel a lot of work in the inner quad, so just kind of like right through here. Okay, if you have it a lot through here, any one of you? Okay, Sam, you feel it? Outside? Oh no, okay, so if you do feel it outside, okay, what you're doing is you're using more, probably this way, okay? You're not keeping your thigh straight ahead, okay? And that's the same with the foot, okay? If you're kind of like scooping this way, all right? So you want to always try to fix the pelvis, and what you're really doing is a very clean leg lift. So if I'm going to show you from the side, I'm just doing a clean leg lift, okay? So of course, if you have a previous knee injury, you might feel, yep, Elaine, that's fine. Okay, we'll just try to work on the front quads first. Okay, if you have a previous knee injury, there might be some degree of rotation. Okay, so I'm just gonna bring you guys to the front. Okay, there is a tight muscle down here called your, I mean, not really a muscle lah. Okay, usually if your knee is always compressed inwards, your IT band is always quite tight and it tightens down towards your shin. Okay, so if I'm gonna show you, it's here and here. Okay, so now we have kind of like come to the front. So if you're lifting and you're like, I still have trouble feeling my muscles, I still have trouble straightening my knee. So same idea, you might have loosened the muscles in the back, but these guys might be tight, maybe from excessive locking of your knee. Okay, so we want to try to bring it back to the center and to make sure that there is a nice balance. Oh no, lower back. Okay, so we then need to make sure that you are using your quads a little bit more. All right, so we're gonna get the roller again. Okay, this time you're gonna work on the side. Okay, so we'll start from the lower part. Okay, so if you always like to use a little bit more of a collapsed foot or a little bit more flat, your knee is usually a little bit more in, which would then give you some pain on the inner. All right. This guys might be a little lock, so is this guy. Okay, so I want you guys to visualize, we're gonna open up this area and this area now so that that work in the back can properly be supported by a good activation in my front. Okay, so this is easy. I'm just going to lie on, I'm just gonna come this way. I'm just gonna be on the roller this way, okay? So don't be so, don't be too quick to crush your bum towards your heel, okay? So I want you just to start at an angle, okay? So this angle, keep it a little big so that you are not sitting into your knee joint, okay? We're gonna sit higher up. Yep, okay? And what you wanna do is to just put weight slowly into the roller, okay? You're gonna target this area, the fleshiest part of your shin, and also a little bit down here, okay? Especially for those of you who have a little bit of a feet problem. Okay, so if you're always rounded on one side compared to the other, whether it's supination or pronation, try to roll out your shin a bit. Okay, so I'm just gonna try and get more weight through. Okay, so once you have that, good. Okay, Eileen, see if you can put a little bit more weight in front so you're not sitting so much behind. Okay, so from here, instead of sitting so much behind, I want you to try to come up a little bit. Make sure the weight is more in the front leg. So as I bring my knee forwards, I'm not sitting my bum back. Okay, I'm just, yeah, good. Okay, Lena, you feeling the shin? Yeah, cool. Okay, keep pressing weight downwards. Okay, you realize that after a while, I'm just holding my weight there. Okay, I'm just pressing my weight as far down as I can onto my roller. Okay, if I press hard enough, your leg might start to like tremble. Okay, so same thing, Masa. You don't need to move so much. You just hold your position. Yeah, Joan. Joan, are you okay? Joan has lost her thigh. I mean, I lost her shin. Okay, so yeah, let's try that for a while more. So really try to release that. Okay, that's also a really tight area. Or if you guys are into the TCM meridians, this is your this is connected to your stomach and your spleen. So digestive issues. Just fun fact. Kajin, you okay? Oh, pain ah. Pain good. Just now never feel anything, right? All your tightness in front. Okay, so you might now start to understand, hey, yeah, it does seem like my tightness is a little bit more behind, or it seems like my tightness is a little bit more in front. Oh, it seems like my tightness is a little bit more on the outer side. My tightness is more in the inner. So it gives you an idea how to better warm up. Okay, and then start to piece all these things together to what you normally do in class, to some of the cues that Mildred always like repeatedly say, and then start to think about, okay, how can I better warm up? How can I better roll? How can I better prepare my body for the training? Because I think all these small things are the important things that we don't nag about. Like we don't drill you guys about. All right. Cool. Very good. Okay. Switch around if you want to. Yeah. Okay. And then of course, we shall not neglect the biggest area or the biggest source of tightness for a lot of us desk bound workers, which is up here in our thigh. Okay. So same idea here. Okay. I want you guys to imagine that there are three corners: the outer, the inner, and I mean the outer, the center, and the inner. Okay. The inner is usually quite tight for some of you guys who with always have like a bit of medial pain. The front is generally tight for people with top pain, okay, actually back pain, bottom pain as well, just generally through the center. And this side would again be tight if your knee is always stuck inwards, all right? So I want you guys to start to roll out. Okay, so same thing. I'm just gonna prop myself down, all right? I like being on my elbows. Okay, so start with a nice plank position, and I want you guys to think about slowly sinking your pelvis down. Okay, but I'm not collapsing my spine. Okay, so there's a very, very small but important difference between collapsing my body versus dropping my pelvis. Okay, so don't sink it all the way. Think about pushing myself up from my shoulders. Yeah, okay, take your time to set up. Yeah, yeah, good job, Elaine. Yeah, okay, now, okay, so for some of you, okay, Elaine, just take a quick look at me. Yeah, so for some of you guys, you're a little bit rotated. That means you're kind of like on the roller, but you're kind of like pushing your bum very high. Okay, I want you guys to always try to start square. Okay, so almost like your pelvis is level, pointing downwards towards the ground. Then you turn in your hips. So don't start in an angle, start flat first. Okay, so think about keeping this butt flat. Jayling, you okay? Yeah. Okay, so now start to shift your weight slightly. Okay, and see whether the inner or the outer part has any tightness. Okay, or see if the inner or the outer part has a difference. Okay, so I'm having my feet quite wide. I'm not sure if you guys can see. I'm having my legs quite wide. Yeah. So JZ, you can put your left knee a little bit further out, like what I'm doing. Yeah. So you have a little bit more room. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So the lower you go towards the floor. Okay. So Elaine, also send your right knee further out so that your pelvis faces the ground. It's almost like my stomach is coming towards the floor. Yep. Correct. Okay. So that should be quite nice. Okay. We just hold that. Okay. Wherever you are. Okay, find the tightest spots that you can find in your, I just kind of like wrote over a knot, so I almost like that. Okay, so find the tightest spot you can find, just hold that there, breathe in and out. Okay, now slowly bring the heel towards your bum. Okay, slowly. without changing anything, okay, except your facial expression. Okay, so the only thing that should be shifting now is your heel coming towards your bum. Okay, so JC, yep. Okay, stay, make sure the tension, the force stays nice on your roller. And then just keep bringing your heel towards your bum. Okay, keep sending your shoulders up. Okay, keep dropping the pelvis. So my shoulders are pushing myself away. My belly button is coming towards the floor, and I'm bringing my heel towards my bum. Okay, and deep breaths. Yep, and then straighten that back out. Okay, so it looks like I'm very collapsed here, but my shoulders are still nice and open, or like nice and stable. Yep, so that's good. Yep, okay. Okay, now we're gonna roll the roller downwards towards more of the knee. Okay, which means I was working on this area earlier. Okay, we're now gonna come towards the side. This area, okay, and also this area. Okay, just spend a little bit of time around the knee, especially you, Sam. I'm watching you. Okay, spend a bit of time around the knee. Okay, especially if you have any past surgeries. There is a lot going on. There'll be a lot going on around the knee. So yeah, let's go down into our roller again, and I'm just sending my weight down onto the outer part of my knee, which is pretty tight actually. Okay, so I'm sending my pelvis down. I'm still pushing my shoulders up, so that works. Sammy, are you going to roll? Okay, cool. Yep. Okay, so JC, try to open up the hips a little bit more. So try to really straighten out the right leg. Oh, sorry, the right leg. So try to make sure that this is really fully straightened. So don't try to keep it bent. So try to open it out so that when you're on the roller, you're opening up fully. Yep, that looks good. Okay, and rest. Okay, so we're gonna flip around. We're gonna go back to our little check. Okay, your knees should feel pretty good in this knee extension position now. Okay, so I'm sitting tall, and again, I am trying to straighten my knee. Okay, so it doesn't really matter whether you have back issues or hip issues or knee issues. When you have kind of like taken care of some of the tension that sits around, you realize that the body kind of just resets itself. Okay, so as I'm doing that, what I'm interested in is of course the activation of my quads. Okay, so as I'm pushing my heels all the way out, what I have is a nice connection or a nice contraction in my quads. Okay, make sure I can feel that, hey, some of these quad muscles are activated. Can you guys feel that? Yep. Okay, so the key areas of the key muscles that you need in your quads, in your knee, is your quads. Okay, so if your quads are asleep, whether or not it's your ankle that is tight, whether or not it's your back that is tight, what happens is your quads will go to sleep. Okay, so if we stand up now, okay, I'm just gonna talk through some of the little bit of like your hinges and stuff. Okay, so if we stand up, okay, you can't see the top. Okay, I think I'll adjust this slightly. Da, 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 da. Okay, so let's rotate this slightly. Okay, cool. Okay, so what you guys want to think about is your hip, knee, ankle alignment. Okay, so what we don't want is for you guys to be here. Okay, so especially when you do your cleans and stuff, you don't want to go too much here. You want to always try to stay quite much over your midfoot or the base of your support. Okay, so as you're coming down and up with your hinge, what you do is you not do that, because that creates that little bit of like that length in your hips, and it actually also usually results in the locking of your knee. Okay, so always try to keep yourself over your center. Okay, some of you guys may feel like, oh, you know, I feel like I'm falling a little bit further back like that. That's also okay. Okay, so where you are now, okay, I get you guys all stand. Okay, Eileen, you're doing a really good job. Okay, so what I want you to do there is to really try to open up the chest and open it up. Cool. Okay, so we're gonna go into a split position. All right. So what we're gonna do here is to make sure that our pelvis, okay, so if you guys watch me, if I were to lock my hip like that, what happens is my knee is gonna be back. Okay, so I wanna be very mindful of this position. I want to try to keep this nice and stacked. Okay, so I'm directing this from my pelvis. So I'm pulling my stomach in and tilting my tailbone slightly down. Okay, and here I am over my knee. My knee is not behind. Because the moment my knee goes back, what happens is that's that lock or that's that shear in my knee joint. Okay, so I'm just gonna center myself again. Okay, and I'm gonna pull my belly button in. Yep, okay, Kajin, split stance. Okay, Lena, can I get you to take your left leg further back? Yep, perfect. Okay, now straighten the right knee. Yep, yep. Okay, so look at the mirror. Look at your screen, just so that your pelvis is not behind. Okay, so your knee is a little bit bent. I want you to try to straighten it, but don't send it back. Just try to get. Yep. Okay. So JC, try to unlock your knee a bit. So your knee is now very far back. I want you to just soften it. Soften it. Good. Okay. Now tailbone down. So think about tilting this guy back. Yeah. Very good. Okay, now hold that. Don't move there. Okay. Elaine, also try to make sure you stay a little bit back. Okay, your knees straighten. Yep, 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 yep. Okay, now hold that. Okay, Jinling also shift. Jinling, you're very forward. Shift this back slightly. Yep, soften your knee slightly, the left knee. Yep, so we see a lot of people who are locking today. Okay, so a lot of this sort of posture, sometimes it can be from too much flexibility. Okay, I want you guys to just hold that there. And now think about your knee as a hinge that you're folding over. Okay, so, okay, maybe it's not a very good example here. Okay, let's just do think of your knee as a hinge that you're sitting into. Okay, so I'm just gonna come back up and I'm just gonna go back down. And I want you guys to really pay attention to your shin, okay, and your hip. Okay, so as you come up and down, okay, so Natsuko, make sure you lose that extension there, stomach in, the lower back extension. So lower belly in. Yep, good. Okay, so JC, really try to focus on that pelvis. Okay, so make sure you're kind of like really working on that. Cool. Okay, Joan, you're doing a very good job of the hinge now. I want you to bend your right knee more. Okay, so now we're going down to more of a lunge. Okay, so as you guys come up, I want you guys to make sure that you're not locking your knee. Try to find that same sensation in your quads. Yeah, that's a better angle for me, Constance. Okay, try to find that same sensation in your quads when you were trying to straighten it earlier. Okay, remember we were trying to straighten it earlier and we found this tightness here. Okay, so same idea as you come up, think about straightening the quads. Think about really coming into that straight line in the quads. Okay, JC, your knees still very far back. Again, you need to send your hip over your foot. Yep, but then soften your knee. Yep, then lean your upper body back slightly. Cool. Yeah. Okay, up and down. Just make sure you're using your knee like a hinge. Okay. Okay, so really try to go down and up. Okay, so I'm controlling this as much as I can. Good job, Constance. Good effort there. Good. Now I think Constance, stomach in, chest up more. Think about breathing deeply. Open up the chest. Okay, guys. So if you watch me, what I'm doing here is really I'm trying to keep my stomach in, and I'm trying to breathe in. Okay, so I'm long and tall, but I'm not compressing my spine. Okay, so I see a lot of compression today. Okay, I want you guys to really try to make sure you're going upwards. Think about a line pulling you up so that your hip, knee, and ankle is straight up. And then as you go down again, you're going up, okay? So Jinling, I'm just gonna show you quickly here what's going on. Okay, Jinling, you're going a little bit like that, okay? So I want you to think about upwards, straight up, okay, and down. So I'm sitting into my knee, and I'm coming straight up. Okay, so I don't want to see your head going back or forth. Yep. Okay, JC, less extension in your lower back. Yeah, keep it nice and tight. Yeah. Mm. Mm. Yep. Good. Okay. Okay, Joan, I want more extension in your torso. So you're leaning quite a lot. I want you to straighten up a bit more. So you're using less of your hip and more of your knee. So you're going here. See? I'm not bending. Okay, so your hinge is okay. I want you to use your knee a bit more. Yep, yep. Straight up, straight up, straight up. Good. Okay. Okay. Yep. So Xiaoqing, same thing. You're leaning a lot. Okay, I want you to stand tall. So as you go down, as you come up, stand tall. Yep, better. Okay, but lean back slightly. Okay, so I'm going down and I'm coming up. I'm standing tall. I'm not shifting. I'm not extending. Okay, I'm just really keeping everything very nicely stacked over each other. Very good, very good, very good, Natsuko. That's much, much better. Yeah, keep trying to create space in your lower back. Okay, JC, you really want to try to not lock that knee there. Okay, play with different leg. Okay, Eileen, very good. Yeah, easy there, Eileen. Okay, so you can switch side, Eileen. I don't think I see the other side yet. Yeah, good, Masa. That's good. Just make sure I can't see your foot very well. Just make sure you're lifting your arch there. Yeah, the left foot. Okay, make sure you're lifting your arch there. Okay, and tailbone down slightly, Masa. Just right there. And then create a little bit more air into your chest. Yeah, very nice, Elaine. Okay, so I just need you to control a little bit. You're still a little bit locky back. Okay, so I need you to really try to stand tall. Okay, when I stand tall, everything is nice and aligned. Okay, let's. Cool. Yep, solid. Very good. Okay, Natsuko, keep trying to pull the low belly in, especially at the lower part. Okay, I want you to almost see no extension. Yeah, yes. Very good. That's much better. Cool. Okay, is there any tightness there? Sam, are you done? Really? Okay, you can do some more rolling. Good, Constance. Constance, don't end here. Okay, so towards the end, don't do that. Okay, so keep thinking towards the end, straighten the knee. Cool. Very, very good. Okay, so remember guys, one of the key things to do is to really find where your core is. Okay, so I haven't covered this, but I think one of the key things is that if you want very good knee function, you need to be able to control any back and forth motion in the rest of your body. Okay, so if you're always a little bit here or a little bit here, you realize that your knee angle is always off. That means you'll always be kind of like walking with more extension. Okay, so it's almost like if I'm always archy, what happens is I'm always on high heels almost. So I'm always gonna be locking my back to kind of like push me forwards. So that's a lot of shearing in my knee because I'm kind of like going like that and I'm going like that without actually using my knee joint. Okay. So the other thing is that if I'm always a little bit more in front, okay. So some of you guys are coming down and you're coming up kind of like forwards. So you're coming down and then you're coming up forwards, okay? So if you're not in line with gravity, same thing. You're not going to be able to use so you realize in this position, my knee is very, very extended. Yeah, okay. So if your knee pops, pop, pop, okay, it normally means that you're shifting side to side. Okay, that's another angle that we haven't really covered. Okay, so if you shift side to side, you realize that you go down, and then as you come up, you go shift. All these muscles are gonna start to pull. Okay, especially your IT band. Okay, so the key thing again is always alignment. We always start with understanding that when you move, you need to there is a specific shape that your body needs to be in, right? So there are not many configurations there are not many options, unfortunately, because with the knee it's just hinge, it's just down and up. right? And I'm just basically moving my whole body over this little guy, and I am controlling that as I come up, right? So the moment I don't control that, it normally throws my whole body off, okay? If that is compressing your spine, that's when you get things like back pain. That's when you get things like head and neck issues, okay? So I'm just gonna quickly run through all of you guys very quickly, okay? So Constance, just watch your extension. Okay, as you come up, make sure you're not locky. Okay, just towards the end, you tend to lock. Okay, Natsuko, more air through your lower back, especially at the end. Okay, you tend to get into that sit too much of the sit back towards the end. So I want you to kind of come into a little bit more upright position. So you're going down more upright. Okay, no extension at all. So not even here. Okay, you're really trying to keep that quite rounded. You might also feel like you're actually coming more into your heel actually in this position, I reckon. Okay, as you come up, same thing. Just keep that nice and open. Really send that air in. I want this wide. Joan, too much hip hinge. Okay, I want you to try to stay more upright. But staying more upright doesn't mean more knee forwards. When you stay more upright, I want you to really come up. Okay, so from here, really come upright. Try to get the endurance in, regardless of whether it's the back or the front. Okay, so you can hold on to stuff. Lena, a little bit locky also. Okay, so really try to keep your core in. Try not to do too much of this. I think you usually try to tighten this quite a lot. So try to maintain a slight extension. Don't tuck this under. I think it might be with your swings as well. Okay, Shiting, generally good. You look like you're chilling. Shiting, I'm calling you out. Okay, you're doing well. Okay, I think you generally do know what you need to do. So not much comment. JC, your spinal alignment. Okay, start to think about your spinal alignment every time you do a bit of up and down. Okay, so that you need to start to be more aware of where your body, the rest of your body is in space, and just make sure you go through that knee well with that core. Xiaoqing, doing well. Okay, so same thing. Don't come too much forwards. Okay, really think about staying solid where you are. Okay, and I would say that's the same thing with Jinling as well. Okay, you guys tend to come back and forth a little bit too much. Okay, when you go back and forth, there's actually a lot of stress in your knee trying to help you kind of like do this. Okay, if you go up and down, you are actually probably using it more like a hinge. Okay, Sam, to be honest, your camera angle wasn't very good. I think secretly that was intentional. Okay, kidding. Okay, I want you to really try to roll out a bit more. Okay, especially if you still feel a lot out here. Okay, you just got your roller. Elaine, Lockie. Okay, are you gonna demonstrate one for me? Whoa! Excellent. Okay, excellent. Okay, good. Okay, really try to keep your stomach in. Try to create a little bit more expansion through your spine. Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Just make sure you're not leaning. I can mildly see you leaning in your upper body. Eileen, good. Upper body achy. I need you to try to roll up more in your upper body. Try to send more air in. Kajin, okay. Okay, I think I just need you to really try to open up your body a bit more. Sometimes you're still very scrunched up. You're very scrunched up. Okay, so open up the range. Okay, imagine you need to open up. So don't stay so tight. Okay, Jinling, same as Xiaoqing. Okay, so remember the back and forth. Just stay upright. Masa, the most important thing I needed to see was your foot today. I couldn't really see it. So, but just keep trying to work on your feet position. Okay, keep trying to make sure that your ankle stays up. There might be quite a bit of collection of tightness around your knee with all the jumping that you're doing in class with Mildred. So just make sure that you're not in this position. So sometimes you tend to, when you rush, you tend to go like in the knee quite quick. So just make sure that that's all absorbed by a nice tight core. Okay, that's cool. I'm sorry I overran. I thought I would be able to stick to 45 minutes. But yeah, I hope you guys learned something new about your knee today. That was kind of, I thought it was like something that I had to go through for you guys to kind of know like oh, it's not just about the hips. We always talk about the hips. Sometimes we need to also take care of the small things. We don't often get a chance to. So yeah, this is my chance. Any questions? Where is my mouse? Mouse. 감사합니다. Okay, so yeah, for any of you here who is interested, we are doing one-on-ones. So we're still doing one-on-ones. If you still have problems with your movement, yeah, especially if you're interested to work on specific things that we don't get to really work on. So it's been quite fun to work on one-on-ones actually. It's a lot more productive than I thought it would be, especially if you have enough equipment at home. Da-da-da-da-da. Any questions at all? Let me see. Nobody's asking me questions. Actually, in front of me cracks. Yeah, Elaine, I love. What if I hurt my crack on my back knee when I bend up down, but it's in pain? Yeah. So any sort of cracking, okay, depends. Okay. So the most prominent cracks we normally get is our kneecap. Okay. Then when the kneecap glides. Okay. So remember, it's not just the hinge, but also that has the kneecap that can glide side to side to allow the knee joint to be a bit more dynamic. Okay. So a lot of the locky type pain would be from actually like a bit of grinding, a little bit of like rotation. Okay, so that's normally along the joint line. When the knee cracks behind the back, when the knee cracks, it's shifting side to side. That's less harmful, even though if you are loading it. So if I'm going down and my knee shifts, like especially if I have a 50 kilo load on me, that will actually create a lot of wear and tear in the back of your kneecap. So imagine that's your knee and then that's your kneecap. You don't want to be grinding on this cartilage. Okay, so same thing. Your knee has these guys have a cartilage. The kneecap has a cartilage as well. Okay, so the idea of keeping everything neutral, everything aligned, is so that your knee don't wear out. Oh no. Sorry. No, I'm gonna die. Okay. Questions? Any more questions? No. You can unmute yourself and ask questions, or you can like talk to each other. Oh no, dying. I'm fine, by the way. I'm fine. Just have something itchy in my throat. Okay, doke. Okay, so we are. There isn't much that's gonna go on. I think a lot of we're just as the circuit breaker extends, we're just gonna do a little bit more of sharing. Okay, so I will consider tonight a sharing. I'm also gonna be doing a couple of interviews. Okay, I'm gonna do a couple of interviews. I'm gonna be interviewing a couple of my clients / coaches or trainers because I'm interested in women's health. Okay, so really, a lot of you guys here are in that age. Okay, and we really want to share about things like how do you take care of your body, if you're eventually thinking of having children, a bit of prenatal stuff, a bit of postnatal stuff. Really, just for you guys to understand how exercise fits in and what kind of damage excessive exercise can do to a woman. Okay, really, because the make of our body is so different compared to guys. So that's why like guys really do get away with a lot of stuff just because they're physically a lot stronger just by design. So yeah, if you guys have anything that you're like, oh, can you please talk about this, or like, oh, I have a friend who's always had like this problem, I want to know more, please let us know, because it really helps like if we are just sharing things that are relevant to you guys. And I do really want to share things that are more relevant to you guys than more like general topics. But yeah, I'm pretty done. I'm just gonna take a photo. Okay, I think it's like It's just a thing. So I'm just gonna take a photo here. Oh, oh, thanks for turning on the lights, JC. Okay, I need to figure out how to do this. Okay.